Greetings and welcome. This is the ThaBadbrey Herbal SSR, ancient astrologer of the ThaBadbreyHerbal.co.uk. And this is going to be a relatively short video demonstrating how ancient horary astrology can be used to find out whether or not a shop is still open or whether or not it has already been closed. So as I said, this is the ThaBadbrey Herbal SSR, ancient astrologer of the ThaBadbreyHerbal.co.uk. So a few days ago, on the 4th of May 2018 to be exact, at exactly 9:24 p.m. in London, UK, I was standing in my house after a very long day of running certain errands and running around sorting out a few bits and pieces. And it was during the hour of the sun, and I knew that I needed to get to the laundrette to wash my clothes. However, because it's been so long since I've visited the laundrette, i.e. the last time my washing machine broke down was a few years ago, and that was the last time I actually went to the laundrette. So from what I remember, I knew that the laundrette usually closes at around 10 o'clock, and usually the last wash is usually at around 9:30 or around 9:15. But from what I remember, it's usually 9:45 that the last wash is actually available, and then it would close at around 10 o'clock. And that's from what I remember how it was a few years ago. However, I weren't sure if these times had actually changed because it's been so long since I had visited the laundrette. So I thought, how can I know for sure without wasting my time going down there to find that the laundrette was already closed? I already had a long day, and I really just wanted to make some dinner, sit down and eat it rather than go to the laundrette. But I needed to wash my clothes. So I thought, how can I know for sure whether or not the laundrette is open or whether or not it has already been closed? So what did I do? I cast a horary chart. Now, before I go into the horary chart, the horary chart that was cast for the question I asked was not generated as a result of the usual conventional method of generating horary charts. Usually if you're generating a horary chart, you would take into consideration the exact sign that is on the horizon at the time the question is asked within the location that the astrologer understands the question itself. And then you would delineate the chart based upon the formation of the zodiacal band, as well as all of the planets and the astrological houses and how they are traversing overhead within the heavens. However, I didn't cast this chart using that usual conventional method. What I did is I generated a horary chart based upon the number of syllables contained in the question that was asked. This is an ancient technique that is largely forgotten by a large majority of astrologers of today. All right, but it is very, very useful, especially if you want to generate a horary chart very, very quickly on the fly and you haven't got access to software. All right, now I may do a video tutorial later on explaining and demonstrating how horary charts can be cast mentally using the number of syllables that are contained within the question being asked. But that's another video, another tutorial video for another time. So this is the chart that was generated. Now I can't remember exactly how I worded the question, but I remember it was something along the lines of, is there any point in me going to the laundrette? Is it already closed or is it still open? Do I still have time to get there? I usually make sure there's 3 parts to the question I'm asking when I'm casting horary charts mentally, and that allows me to generate a horary chart and it allows me to overlay exactly where the houses would be over the signs. All right, now this is the horary chart that was generated as a result. As you can see, I have used whole sign houses. Why? Because when generating horary charts mentally, it's much easier to visualize whole sign houses rather than using an unequal house system. All right. Now, based upon the number of syllables in the question I asked, this is the horary chart that was generated. As you can see, the ascendant over here, this proportion over here is the first house, and this line over here and this AC is the ascendant. The ascendant cusp, this line here is the cusp. The sign that the cusp of the ascendant is on, as well as his lord, signifies the person asking the question. All right. So as you can see here, the cusp of the first house is on Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is over here in the 12th house. All right. Therefore, Jupiter symbolizes me, the ThaBadbrey herbalist Asar, ancient astrologer, asking the question in the 12th house. All right. Now, due to the fact that the Launderette, the subject of this horary chart, the Launderette itself is a service being provided to me and falls under the dominion of some type of service, then the appropriate area of the chart which would signify the Launderette would be the 6th house. The 6th house traditionally is the signifier for any type of service you provide, a service being provided to you, people who work for you, any type of service whatsoever, yes, is signified by the 6th house and the sign on the cusp of the 6th house and its lord. Now, in this particular chart, the 6th house cusp is on Taurus, and Taurus is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the lady of the 6th house. All right. Now, upon delineating this chart on my head and coming to the conclusion that the 6th house ruler is Venus, I came to the conclusion that based upon her position of her traversing Gemini, and Gemini being on the 7th house, and Venus being almost completely opposite the ascendant, i.e. me, I came to the conclusion that there is a female who is in charge of closing the Launderette, and that at some point in a few minutes, she will descend upon the Launderette and close it. All right. And that I would be in great disagreement if this actually happened. Why would I be in great disagreement? Because I won't get to wash my clothes. And I would be in great disagreement because Venus is making a direct opposition, a direct opposition to the 1st house, which symbolizes me, almost within orb of the violent fixed star Antares, which an Antares signifies some type of violent outburst, some type of temper, or some type of annoyance, i.e. the woman who is in charge of closing a Launderette, she would cause annoyance within me if she manages to descend upon a Launderette and close it before I get there. And if I get there first, she would be annoyed with me because I am in the Launderette when she wants it to be closed. All right. Now, the next thing I wanted to find out, in how many minutes would the person, the female in charge of closing a Launderette, in how many minutes would she actually descend upon a Launderette and close it? All right. So I looked, and based upon diurnal motion, I came to the conclusion that Venus being at 12 degrees on that particular day, 12 degrees of Gemini, and based upon diurnal motion, that would mean within about, what, 12 minutes, yeah, Venus will be setting on the descendant. Venus setting on the descendant symbolically indicating and signifying that a female will descend upon the descendant of the Launderette, the descendant being symbolic of the closing of the door of the Launderette. So within 12 minutes, I thought to myself, this woman's going to come and close the Launderette. I need to get there, otherwise I'm going to be annoyed. Yeah. So I thought, is there any other way I can come to some type of practical conclusion as to the exact time that the Launderette would close? Do I have just 12 minutes to get there, or do I have any more time? And in order to find that out, I gave recourse to our Lady the Moon. And as you can see, she is in the second house in Capricorn in her detriment. And she, from what I remember, from calculating exactly where the moon was moving in the morning when I woke up earlier that day, as well as her daily motion, I knew that she was moving below her average speed. She doth not move swift on that particular day. She was moving slow. She was moving slow. So I came to the conclusion, based upon the symbolism prevalent within this chart, that the moon, being a co-signifier of a female, I came to the conclusion that the moon also signifies the woman who's in charge of closing the laundrette. And the fact that our lady, the moon, was moving slow, I thought to myself, the woman is moving slow, and that means she'll be late to get to the laundrette to close it. Now I thought, why is she going to be late to get to the laundrette to close it? What happened? And in order to find out what happened in the past, what you do is you look at the last planet that the moon separated from. And based upon the symbolism in this chart and the actual motion of the moon in this chart at this particular time, 9:24 p.m. during the hour of the sun, the moon's last separation was from Saturn. Now, whenever the moon's last separation is from Saturn, that usually indicates and implicates and indicates some type of memory lapse of some kind. So I came to the conclusion that the woman in charge of closing the laundrette must have forgotten that she needed to get to the laundrette to close it, and she is moving slow, and she hasn't remembered that she needs to get there to close it. So for me, I thought, you know what? I've got time to actually get there. Now, how long would it take before she actually remembers and gets there to close it? So I looked at the next application, next planetary aspect that the moon would make. And in this chart, the moon's next application was towards Mercury, all right? And Mercury signifies the synapses firing in the brain. It symbolizes the memory. It symbolizes quick thinking. And in this chart, you can see that Mercury is in the 5th house in Aries. Aries ruling the head, and Aries being ruled by Mars. And Mars is right over here, and Mars is corporally assembled with the moon, as well as being corporally assembled with Saturn. So therefore, when our lady the moon makes an application and makes an aspect and renders her counsel to Mercury, that would signify the time that the woman would remember that she needs to get to the laundrette to close it. And I thought, how long would that be until she remembers? So in order to find that out, what you do is you look at the degrees of the moon and you look at the degrees of Mercury. And as you can see here, the degrees of Mercury is 18 degrees of Aries, and the degrees of the moon is 9 degrees. So therefore, I thought to myself, within about 9 minutes, this woman is going to remember that she needs to close the laundrette. So I've got 9 minutes to actually get there to put my clothes in the laundrette before the woman descends upon the laundrette and comes in and decides that she has forgotten that she needs to close it. Now, I also looked at the next planetary aspect that the moon would make after separating from Mercury. All right. And the next planetary aspect that the moon would make after separating from Mercury was Mars. All right. Now, due to the fact that Mars is the lesser malefic, and Mars also rules the sign in which the Lord of the Ascendant is, i.e. me, I came to the conclusion that I would have to answer to Mars, because if you have a planet signifying the person asking the question, then the sign in which that planet is and the Lord of that sign signifies the person or issue that has power over the person asking the question. Therefore, I would need to answer to Mars, and Mars has power over me. All right. Therefore, I came to the conclusion that when the moon makes an aspect with Mars, that would be the time when the laundry actually closes. All right. So in order to find out how long, like in minutes, how long it will take before the laundrette closes and get another testimony as to how long it will take, you look at the degrees of the moon, 9 degrees, as we already like found out before. And we look at the degrees of Mars. As you can see, Mars is at 25 degrees Capricorn in his exaltation, and the moon is at 9 degrees Capricorn in her detriment. So you minus 9 from 25. 25 minus 9 is 16. So therefore, I came to the conclusion that I got from 12 to 16 minutes before the woman descends upon a laundrette and closes it. And that within 9 minutes time, she will remember that she needs to close the laundrette. Now, mind you, I carried out this delineation in my head, and it took me about 3-4 minutes to delineate in my head. All right. And I decided I need to rush down there. It was 9:24. I picked up my clothes. I ran down to the laundrette. And there was nobody there. I got to the front of the laundrette, and on the door, it said, a sign was on the door, and it said, the laundrette closes at 10 o'clock. And I thought to myself, oh, maybe I didn't even have to rush. That was the querent within me, thinking logically. But the astrologer within me was saying, no, you did need to rush. Based upon the symbolism within the chart, the woman's going to be here any moment now, and she's going to close the laundrette, and she has forgotten that she needs to close it, and she's not going to be happy that your clothes are already in the machine. So get in there, put your clothes in the machine, and quickly start washing them. So I went into the laundrette, I put my clothes into the machine, and then what happens? I got there around, I left my house around 9:29. I rushed down there. I got to the laundry at about 9:30, 9:31. And then, after about 3 minutes, I see the woman in charge of closing the laundrette. She rushes in, almost looking slightly flustered, like she forgot that she needed to close it. She came into the laundrette. You know what she said to me? She said, oh yes, by the way, the last wash is at 9 o'clock. And the last dryer service is at 9:30, and I usually lock up the laundrette at 9:40. And I said, okay. And she said, but due to the fact that your clothes are already in the machine, I'll have to wait until they're finished. All right. Now, going back to the fact that I cast this horary chart at 9:24, what is 9:24 plus 16? 9:24 plus 16 minutes is exactly 9:40. As you can see, I was able to extract extremely valuable and practical information and use it to my advantage to ascertain whether or not the laundrette was open or closed, and then get there and utilize the services before the woman came in and closed it. So there you go. That's how you can use ancient horary astrology to ascertain whether or not a particular shop, building, or place is still open, or whether or not it has been closed. This is the ThaBadbrey Herbalist, ancient astrologer of the ThaBadbreyHerbal.co.uk. Stay tuned. Dendra.